You know, so many people have so much hurt, which when a hurt happens, most people who perceive themselves as not wanting to just be a victim get strong. And the way they get strong is they get angry. And I did the same thing early in my life. I got kicked out of my house by my mom. A good deal of my drive was to show her, in the early days. My mom and I have now a phenomenal relationship. But that anger eats you up. It provides immense strength. But it just eats you up. And you're never free. And so forgiveness is the gift you give yourself. It's not the gift you give someone else. Because it allows you to reclaim yourself. It allows you to have freedom. And it takes courage. But I want you to see, she always had this ability. The only reason that it happened yesterday is because she put herself in the right state. Because by putting her in that state, and not only putting her in that state, but getting her to identify that that state is herself. Meaning, I've said to you before, the strongest force in the personality of any human being is their need to remain consistent with their identity. So, when we went through that process yesterday, many of you have no idea about what she did really, really well. I compliment her on besides her courage, was that she incanted this enough times that she began to believe it. She began to believe she was that courage. And that's why when she was in his presence, she was still herself. That's why she actually picked up the phone. Remember I said to you the other day, like if you want to do something, someone says, I'm going to go on a diet. Don't do the thing. Put yourself in the state where doing the thing is automatic. The state is at first. And if you don't just put yourself in the state, but you take these power virtues and you literally become them, right? You embody them physically again and again and again, pretty soon you'll live there. I didn't have a sense of certainty like I have now. What I did is I literally incanted that into my body, used my physiology, anchored that process in until it's always available. It's always right at the edge of who I am. So no matter what's happening, it's there. And I can get there so many ways so quickly. My body wants to go there. In the stimulus of challenge, every part of me gets absolutely certain. Not in the stimulus of challenge, every part of me used to freak out. And that's something I created. I chose it. I wasn't born with it. No one gave me such a gift. No one encouraged me. No one told me this is how you're going to be, Tony. I decided to become that. And I figured the tools to do it. And the number one tool for conditioning your nervous system, the most powerful tool is the most basic one that takes no skill whatsoever to use. What it requires is that you do it. And I tell people about it, and they don't do it. Very few people really do this. And my whole life has been shaped by incantations. Now, what is an incantation versus an affirmation? Well, you can affirm things all day long. I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy. Affirmation without discipline is the beginning of delusion. And the first discipline is to engage your entire nervous system, which means you can't just say it. You must embody what you're saying with incredible emotional intensity, because that's what sends the message to your brain that says, this is real. That is what creates the anchor in your nervous system, right? So when I do my incantations, and I do them, I don't know if you realize, but I do them to this day. I've done them as long as I can remember. When I first got in the personal development business, I went to work for a man named Jim Rohn. He's a personal development speaker. How many have heard Jim Rohn? I'm curious. Oh, quite a few. He's a great man. And in fact, he just came recently. We had a neat kind of reunion. And he came for a Christmas party for us and came and spoke to my group and introduced me. And it was kind of fun. It was really quite a wonderful experience. But the point of the matter is, when I went to work for Jim Rohn, I was 17 years old. I had no money. I had no background. I was supposed to go out and give talks, speeches to stockbrokers, insurance agents, realtors, things like that, on how they could become more successful and then get them to go to Jim Rohn's seminar. Now, I was wearing a two-piece leisure suit that I bought at the thrift store, a fake gold chain because I couldn't afford any gold. I had long hair. I had minestrone soup acne all across my face, right? It was not a pretty sight. But what I did is I became the most influential person out of 500 salespeople in this company, because what I did was I trained my mind and emotions every single day with such intensity that I had a power when I got up to speak that was amazing. Because when two people meet, if there's rapport, if there's a feeling of mutual respect, right, and trust, if that person knows they could trust you, if one person is more certain than the other, that person will eventually influence the other person's feelings. And the way I got that certainty was not by my ability or my skill or my good looks or my magnificent background. I didn't have any of those things. I got that, and I had to park my 1968 Volkswagen, which when I turned it off would usually explode, right? Give that big backfire thing. I would park it down the street because I couldn't pull that up next to their Mercedes and go, here's how you should do it and change your life. That didn't work out too well. And I was 17 years old. So what I did was I would be driving in my car to do a presentation or meet somebody one-on-one, and I would do these incantations, which I still do, ask anyone backstage, to this day, every time before I get on stage, and I've done them for 20-plus years. Because I don't ever hope I'm going to show up with all my circuits turned on. You deserve more than that, and I deserve more than that. I got to make sure it's all there. I don't always wake up feeling like, oh boy, another day to go out and do a seminar. It doesn't always feel that way in the morning, right? Especially because when you guys go and you go do whatever you do, I start my work. Because then I have to do my design work with my team, and I got 8 other companies. I have to respond to all my voice. I have to do all that stuff. So I'm usually getting to bed 2 or 3 hours after most people here and getting up. So there are days when it doesn't feel great. And there's days when I feel great, but it's not just great. I want to be outstanding. And so what I do is I do my incantation. And to this day I do it. And what I said back then, I'd be driving my car, and I do this over and over again at total intensity. I now command my subconscious mind to direct me in helping as many people as possible today by giving me the strength, the emotion, the persuasion, the humor, the brevity, whatever it takes to show these people and get these people to change their life now. And then I make my move and I go, yes. And then now I'm ready. You know? And I can do that a couple of times now and I'm there because it's so anchored. I can do it once, but I usually do it a couple of times. But then I'd be in my car and I would do this over and over again. I think about this person I wanted to have an impact on. I now command my subconscious mind to direct me in helping this person to change their life by giving me the strength, the emotion, the persuasion, the humor, the brevity, whatever it takes to show this person, get this person to go to Jim Rohn's seminar. That's what I say. And I do it again and again. And I'd be driving for 45 minutes in my Volkswagen, shouting this at the top of my lungs. I'm like, hi, I now command my subconscious mind. By the time I got there, after 45 minutes of doing this, and I walked in the room and I was saying, hello. Right? I just say, by the way, I'm coming because I know you're going to Jim's seminar, but let me explain to you why. I would literally do that. And people would look at me and go, no one do I sit down with fails to attend this program. And in those days, literally every human being, God strike me dead, who I saw, everybody who was around those days, Jim will tell you, for 2 months went to his program. Whether they had the money or not. His program was $1,200. I mean, I just had so much influence because I was so certain, so connected, so turned on. Whatever little thing they could try to resist, it was over. Right? It was done before it started. So to this day, I do that. I was in a position trying to figure out, I was suffering financially, trying to figure out, and I realized all wealth is created in the mind. You know, most of you, how many have been through Wealth Mastery? Right? I'm really proud of that program. I missed that program because I designed every minute of that program, the games and all the things. But part of how I created the biggest thing, I hope you got out of that, is that 80% of wealth is psychology and 20% is mechanics. Well, the mechanics are exciting. Anybody can figure out the mechanics. We do a good job of teaching you that. But the psychology is where the whole game comes from. And so I realized I had to create that abundance in my mind. So I started creating these incantations. And I say, God's wealth circulates in my life. His wealth flows to me in avalanches of abundance. All my needs, desires, and goals are met instantaneously by infinite intelligence. And I give thanks for all my good now and for all of God's riches, for I'm one with God and God is everything. And I would do that for 2 hours while I ran, screaming it out loud. The other thing about an incantation, it's not in your head. Because by speaking it, you engage your entire physiology. And I do that over and over again. And a year later, I went from making $38,000 to $1 million in a year. Because everything in your outside world was created in the inside world. And if you have scarcity in your inside world, there's no possibility of abundance in your external world. And so these incantations I would do. And to this day, when I go run, I don't just go run. It would be stupid. Then I'm only using my body and I'd be bored silly. So sometimes I listen to music because I enjoy that, but there's a part of my run where I do incantations. And I do very simple things. You don't have to have a long, complex thing you've memorized. You can do the every day and every way. I'm feeling stronger and stronger. Every day and every way, I'm feeling stronger and stronger. And I'll do that for like 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 minutes. Then every day and every way, I feel more and more grateful. Every day and every way, I feel more and more grateful. I'll do that again and again. Or I'll take just a phrase, a word like, thank you. Thank you, God. Thank you. Thank you, God. Thank you. Thank you, God. And I say it. And I change the tone of voice. And if I have a long one, I'll change a word. Like if you're going to do your primary question, And your primary question was, how can I appreciate even more the love and guidance I have inside me right now? I start out with going, how can I appreciate even more all the love and guidance inside of me now? How can I, and I do that, and then I change to another word. How can I appreciate even more, blah, blah, blah. Now, how can I appreciate, and I just do it again and again, while I'm physically active with out loud my voice. And you go, well, people are going to think you're crazy and talking to yourself. Who cares? This has got to become a part of your life, not something you do once. It's like you don't go to the gym once and then go, okay, now I'm fit for life. It becomes a part of your life. And by the way, it's a positive part, an amazing part, an enjoyable part. It's not like a duty. If you go on a run and you do this, or you go on a walk, one of the reasons we brought this here was to put it in Florida so East Coast people have ease and so that people in Europe would come here. And frankly, I didn't want to come to this hotel because it wasn't at the accommodation level that I'd normally want. It was the only place in Florida available during this time of year where it would be really warm. And want to make God laugh? Tell him your plans. But I thought, well, the one good thing is you guys will have to walk. I mean, you could take it, but you walk, and it'd be a great time to do your incantations. Little I know that you'd be freezing during the process. So I want to encourage you. You don't have to know what to say. You don't have to be perfect. You can just do a word over and over again. It has made me strong, emotionally strong, mentally strong, spiritually strong, physically strong. It has made me wealthy. It has made me happy. And if I ever get off target, it's because I got a different incantation going. I was talking to somebody last night. I was calling in response to a voicemail. And I was talking to this person. And they must have said to me, I don't know, about 15 times in a 5-minute conversation. Right? What is that called? An incantation. By the way, incantation, they're spelled the same way, it's just where you focus. Right? Incantation or incantation. Same spelling, different emphasis. This person's got an incantation. They keep saying, I don't know. So of course they don't know. Because the brain is not going to turn you into a liar. So you got the greatest gift on the face of the planet. It's this brain. But no one's taught you how to use it. I'm telling you right now, if you want to change your life, physiology with language, because by the way, what do you think is more powerful, a belief system or an incantation? Well, somebody's saying incantation because I just beat the hell out of how important it is, so you probably figure that's true. But do you know why? Because a belief system is something that's just resident in your memory. Like, can you believe something and not act upon it? Yes or no? In fact, how many of you realize you have conflicting beliefs in your brain, and it just depends on what state you're in as to which one you utilize, like look before you leap or he who hesitates is lost. How many know that's true in you? Say aye. So a belief is just something stored in your memory. When you are incanting something, it is an active part of your neurology. It is an active part of your nervous system. It is engaging you to think, be, and experience that, which is what she did. She said, I am courage, I am courage, I am courage, and she embodied it. That wasn't an affirmation. She could have gone, I am courage, I am courage, I am courageous, I sure am. But she put her shoulders back and she breathed and said, I am courage, and then boom, she picked up the phone and she stood up as an adult woman instead of a child. And she asked quality questions and she managed her state because she put herself there. If you're not getting the results you want, put yourself in a state where you'll get the results you want. It's not that complex. But if you wait until the time you've got to get yourself in state to finally get yourself in state, there'll be no muscle. And so it'll be hard to do. If you lift on a regular basis, now if somebody throws a weight at you, you've got to pick something up, there's some muscle there to do it because you were prepared in advance. The same thing's true with an incantation. If you wait until you need the incantation to go do something, probably won't do it because it won't be a natural part of you. But if you've done it all the time, then all of a sudden it's there. It's like it's always there. It's always right at the surface, right ready to click. I can click into certainty, bam! I can click into relaxation just as easily because I have triggered these in my nervous system. And that gives me unbelievable power and choice in my life. The consequences of incantations are more powerful than belief systems because incantations are active use of neurology and physiology, whereas beliefs are passive. They're just part of your resident memory. Beliefs are stored information, while incantations are active physiological events. Now here's the danger. Listen to me now on this. Read this and think about this. I want you to really get this because this is something people do all the time. It says, here's a danger. Often people realize that they don't really believe what they're saying, but they continue to make it okay to use their negative incantation by rationalizing, well, I know better anyway. Like, remember yesterday somebody said, well, the gentleman in the front row was saying, well, I'm just kind of teasing myself. He's saying that over and over again, and a portion of him believes it and it affects his nervous system. How many follow this? Say aye. I put down, knowing better will not make you better. Speak that which you wish to become. Remember, you cannot get rid of an incantation. You must replace it with a positive one that consistently causes you to feel, experience, and be your best. What you consistently speak, you will become. What you consistently speak, you will create. And what you consistently speak, you will find and experience. This is your heaven and this is your hell. What you say over and over again is the absolute programming device of the software or the hardware of your nervous system. And so you've got to do it more consciously. The more powerful the emotional state you're in when you do your incantation, the more powerful the conditioning is. You could do 1/5 the number of incantations with twice the emotional intensity, and it'll be 5 times stronger. The emotional intensity is everything because that's how you program your unconscious. That's why you must speak it aloud. That's why you must use your intensity. That's why you must embody what you speak, not just affirm it. Second, the law of conditioning is consistency is power. If you will consistently do this, if you'll schedule it and say, okay, I run 4 times a week, 3 times a week, whatever you do, I'm going to do this for at least 10 minutes of my run. Maybe I like not thinking during my run, maybe I like music, but 10 minutes of it, I'm going to do a minimum incantation. You do it for 10, you'll get on a roll. You'll probably want to do it if you do it at the beginning of your run, you'll want to do it the whole time. It's positively addictive. And why not put the stuff in your head that you need that will guide your unconscious continuously? So scheduling it so you have some consistency to it is very useful. So I have a schedule. When I'm backstage here, before I walk out of here, every single time, I do my incantation and I make my move. There are no exceptions. There haven't been in 23 years. That gives me the power every time. It turns on my whole nervous system every time. That's a scheduled way to do it. If I did it randomly only when I think about it, well, then sometimes I'd be there, sometimes I wouldn't. How many follow this? Say aye. Third, the law of rhythm and patterning. If you get some rhythm as you're speaking it, like a song, like even if you say every day and every way I'm feeling stronger, and then you can say every day and every way I'm more and more outrageous every day and it's just a rhythm, right? Once you know an incantation, it doesn't even have to have a rhythm. I say I now command my subconscious mind. When I do that, I am creating a rhythm. There's nothing rhyming about it. I've got a punctuation because I know it. So it allows me to feel that, because rhythm is part of how you program the nervous system. Now, if you write poetry, or if you're poetic, or you're a songwriter, you can do this, and we've actually written some for you to help you get that kind of feeling. The law of synergy is, the more you can use all 5 of your senses, like when I say God's wealth is circulating in my life, what I always do, if I'm not driving when I do this, is I picture God's wealth circulating in my life, and for me, I picture all the people I love. I spin out. I start with my children and my family, and I move out to my closest friends, and then I move out to the people that I work with who I really love, and then I move out to the general population and move out all the way out to strangers that I meet. And I send love to them, and I think of that love coming back. So God's wealth is circulating my life, and I think His wealth flows to me in avalanches of abundance, and then I see all these great things happening. I see it, I feel it, I engage. I'm using my voice, I'm seeing it, I'm using my feelings, kinetically. So I see all these things. I see tremendous opportunity. I see being able to impact millions of people. I see huge sums of money. I see the ability to impact children. I see all these things that are so valuable. I see the love I receive. So I associate to as many senses as possible, which makes it that more impactful when you do an incantation. And then lastly, you should reward yourself, because incantations, you got to see them not as a job, but as a gift. If you do them enough, you'll feel their gift because they make you feel phenomenal. Now, if you're a perfectionist, there's always a choice. That's for you. You'll see. I used to think perfection was the only way to be, but now I know that all I need is here inside of me. I appreciate and honor myself, and when push comes to shove, all I ever have to do is add a little bit of love. For those who are significance freaking out, like you're missing significance, or drive by significance, next one. I had to be the best, better than the rest, but now I know I'm good as gold and life is not a test. So I celebrate my accomplishments, but I realize they're not me, because as I love myself, I'm all I ever need to be. The incantation that we wrote here, the I am the voice, which, by the way, I wrote because I have this little girl in San Jose, California, who was heroin addicted, and in the Latin culture there, in a female gang. And they wanted to get her out. Several people really worried about her, and she wouldn't get out. I tried to connect with her, and then one day a drive-by shooting happened. And it was her best friend, and she was there. And she held her friend till she died. She bled to death. And that was enough to freak her out. Because she said, I can't leave. And she kept saying, I need to go. I know I need to get out of this, but I can't. I just can't. I said, why can't you? She goes, I don't know. I just keep hearing their voices saying, we're your only family. I keep hearing the voices saying, you won't live to be 30 anyway. So I wrote this little incantation. I said, okay, now here's what I want you to do. Screw all these other voices. Now I am the voice. I want you to say that. And I had to engage it. And then I said, you're supposed to be a leader. You tell me you're a leader, you're a follower. Right? So I said, I lead, not follow. And then she kept saying, yeah, but I don't believe I can do it. Like, what if it doesn't last? Well, incant that it will. And it will. Right? I believe, not doubt. I create, not destroy. I'm a force of good. I'm a leader. And she goes, yeah, but, everybody says the odds are against me. Defy the odds. Set a new standard. Step up. And I had her do this over and over and over again until she was vibrating. I had her sing at the top of her lungs in every different emotional state. You could just see the power come in her, just like it did in her, so she could pick up the phone. And I'd do it again and again. And then after a while, I thought, wow. She got off heroin. She became a straight-A student, went back. She was at an alternative high school, went back to the regular school. She got out of the gang, which they didn't let her do. They came after her with baseball bats. She got out. She got other people out of it, all from making a total change in her psychology. And then I started hearing other people say, I'd hear a woman say, well, I can still hear him say, I don't think I'm as attracted to you anymore, and I don't know if we should be together. I said to her, boy, is he right. We don't belong together. Now I am the voice. And I started using it in other contexts, and then we expanded it to just about everything. Guy was in his late 60s and saying, I keep hearing people in the company saying, why doesn't he retire? He doesn't belong here anymore. Boy, is they right. Now I am the voice. He would start his own business. So incantations, I cannot stress enough the power they have to change your life. You deserve to give yourself this as a daily event. And if you don't spend 10 minutes a day minimum incanting what it is you want, then you are absolutely not using what I teach. I'm just telling you straight out. Don't go, I went to that Tony Robbins seminar, it didn't work. If you're not incanting a minimum of 10 minutes, and ideally more, you are not applying what I teach. Because this is the fundamental of what I do. Because this, by the way, engages your entire triad. It uses language, physiology, focus, and adds certainty to it, which creates a belief. This is the creation of a triad whenever you make an incantation. If you do it the way I'm talking about, which is fully associated entire physiology.